Hey guys, it is Jess. Welcome back to my channel. So, I feel like it's been a real hot minute since I've sat down and done a voiceover. I like to sort of pre-record a little bit because, I don't know, I just feel like I go through like phases where I have heaps of time and I could smash out like 5 speed builds, do the voiceovers, and then I'll go through a period where I just like can't really record or anything. So the last time I probably did some recording, like actually like recording it and then uploading it, was like, oh, not last week, the week before. Last week, no. What shift was I on last week? See, just in case you didn't know, I do shift work. So like full-time shift work. So depending like what shift I am on at work really depends like how much stuff I get done. So last week I was on the afternoon shift, so I don't finish until like 10 o'clock at night. So by the time I get home, my husband is asleep, so I can't really do any like voiceovers or anything because I don't want to wake him up. But I do all my building. So I usually get a lot of building done when I am on like an afternoon shift. And then in the mornings, if possible, I will do some recording, but I kept on sleeping in this time, so I haven't had a chance to like actually do some recording. But today I have the day off, so I can do it. And then not last week, the week before, I was on a shift where I had to start at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I am not a morning person. I am a night owl. So as much as I really enjoy doing shift work, having to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work kind of just crushes me a little bit. I don't know, it's like such a third world problem, but it's like it hurts. It hurts getting up that early. But anyway, that's why I haven't been like around. But hopefully you guys haven't noticed, because I do try and always have like videos going up every week, even if they're not like live videos, if that makes sense. But anyway, this build, I was like laying in bed one night. This is how deep the Sims obsession goes. I was like laying in bed one night and I was like, oh my god, I want to build a 3-story house. And I had this whole like house plan like worked up in my head, and I was like, yes, and it's going to have 3 stories, and it's going to have this like wraparound porch with heaps of windows and a really like open bright kitchen. And then I like woke up the next morning and then just like sat down and just built it, because I had to get that idea out there. And I don't know, I just was kind of like laughing about it, because I'm like literally like like in bed trying to sleep, but I'm like, oh my god, a Sims floor plan. Yes, the obsession is real, but that's why I have like YouTube and you guys, because you appreciate the obsession, and it's not, you know, it's not as crazy. Like, at least I'm doing it for a purpose, you know what I mean? But anyway, I quite like this build, and it's very different. I started off going for my usual color scheme, which is like blues, neutral colors, like you know, I usually do like creams, whites, browns, a little bit of grey, and then pops of blue. Like, that's my classic kind of color scheme. And then I don't know at what point, it was kind of like after I did the kitchen and the lounge room, I think, I just all of a sudden I was like, oh, let's do a different color scheme. And I totally changed the whole color scheme from like really light neutral colors to like bright yellow and blue. So it's a very bright build in the end. I leave the lounge room light and neutral, but I do end up changing the kitchen. So you'll see the kitchen in a minute and it's going to be like really light, but that does change. But I just like left it in there because all I did was like just change some of the colors around. And I really like the front landscaping of this house as well. I don't know, I feel like doing the landscaping at the front of a house kind of sucks. I don't like it that much. So I really like houses where I can kind of put in like a driveway and, you know, like a little walkway, and just put like heaps of bushes like this. And it's kind of, I think that it looks good, and then I don't have to worry too much about like putting little, I don't know, like plant areas in or anything like that. So I definitely like this. Yeah, this little house. Something I did struggle with though was trying to like furnish the wraparound porch. That's something I do struggle with, because with the wraparound porch, like there's not enough space to put a heap of things there. But then at the same time, it's like there's too much space as well. It's hard to explain, but I never really know what to put on them. And I also think, like, realistically, if you did have a porch that was wraparound, you probably wouldn't have it overly furnished, but then because it's The Sims, do you have to furnish it? And it's just a whole big thing. But anyway, I do have sort of stories. Like, I haven't sat down and done like speed build in ages, so I just like to kind of sit down and do it's my little like rants. I don't know, it's nice to just be able to sit down and then like just talk to people. And yeah, I don't know, I think a lot of YouTubers that do Sims videos, they say that, like, it's just nice and nearly therapeutic. You just like sit down and it's just like having a chat with friends, except your friends aren't there to answer you, so it's just all you talking. It's all about you, which, let's be real guys, everyone loves being the center of attention just a little bit. So it's good that it's like uninterrupted. I can just like talk and then it's like done. So if I'm like happy about something, I can get some excitement out, or if I'm like a bit upset or cranky about something, then I can be like, have a rant about it and then it's done. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're just going to have like a little chitty chat and maybe talk about the build and see how it all goes. So I'm just trying to think, like, it's been it's been like 2 weeks since I've done like a kind of voiceover. So as you know, I did the 6 o'clock shift. So I work from 6 a.m. until 2:30 in the afternoon. So the good thing about this shift is that you're done. Like, you're done so early, and there's like heaps of stuff that you can do during that afternoon. Like, you can go to the shops and you can do whatever. Because I don't know about where you guys live, but this is like something really stupid I think it is in a lot of Australia, but like definitely where I live and some of the smaller cities and stuff do it. Our like business hours, so the shops open 9 till 5:30, but standard work hours, so like public service, government jobs, desk jobs, like 90% of the jobs are 9 to 5. So what I don't understand is like, why would all the shops only be open when everybody is at work? So obviously like the supermarkets and stuff where you get food from, they're open till way later. But like, just say that you work 9 to 5, which is that's like standard business hours. That's like when most people work. If you work 9 to 5, you can't just like go to the shops after work and get something because all the shops are closed. So it doesn't make sense. That is one reason why I really like the shift work, because I finish at 2:30. I can get to the shops at 3, and like I'd have 2.5 hours. Like, they close about 5:30. So that's really good about the 6 o'clock shift. The really bad thing is that you get tired, like super duper tired. And I don't know if it is because I'm getting up so early or if I am just definitely not a morning person, but it doesn't matter how much sleep I get the night before, I seem to always be tired. And it could be a few reasons. It could be that it doesn't matter how much sleep you have. If you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're going to be tired because that is not a normal time to wake up. It could be because personally, I hate mornings and my body isn't good at getting up that early. Or the other thing is that before you do this shift, like the first night, I usually end up staying up really late, because to get 8 hours sleep, I'd have to go to sleep at 9 o'clock. And I never go to sleep at 9 o'clock. So I usually end up staying up really late and then in turn not getting a lot of sleep. So I'm either, like, I could be just playing catch up for the whole rest of the week. But anyway, I had a really bad sleep on Sunday night. So I went to work on Monday with, like, no joke, like three, maybe 4 hours sleep. And I was so exhausted. Like, I couldn't function. I don't know if you've ever been, like, so tired that you just can't function. You can't do anything. So I came home, I had my dinner at like 3:30 or something like that. And I was just like, I'm hopping into bed. I hopped into bed and I'm pretty sure I went to sleep at like 6:30 p.m. And that's a lot of sleep, but I was still tired the next day. And it was so annoying because it's like I went to bed so early and I am still so tired. And then the next day was my dad's birthday and we went out for dinner. We went out to this really expensive restaurant and the food was not even nice. Like, I didn't really like it anyway. So we went out for dinner and then I went to bed a bit later that night. So then the next day I was tired again. And just like every afternoon I was so exhausted that I physically couldn't do anything. I don't even think that I turned my computer on that week, which is so unusual for me. And I'm just going to point out, this is where I changed the color scheme to these really super bright colors. And this is like not me, but I'm trying to do different stuff because I don't want I think that everyone has a build style, and I think that I will have maybe most of my builds or a lot of my builds being like one particular style, but I don't want like every build on my channel to be the same, like if I can avoid it, obviously. So if it can be avoided, like I want a few different builds in there. I want to go out of my comfort zone, and maybe if I don't necessarily like it, that doesn't mean that nobody else will, because I might not like it because it's not like what I'm used to doing, but I don't think that that means that it's bad, if that makes sense. Like, this probably isn't a build that is like my favorite build. I actually do like it though, but it's probably not a build where I'm like, yes, this is like the best build I've ever done, because it's not colors that I would usually use. It's not things that I would usually go for, but I don't think that that makes it a bad build. I think it just makes it something that I don't do and something that I'm not used to. But definitely comment down below, like, do you like it when I do something different or out of my personal comfort zone? And if there's something that you want to see, put it down below, because I think it is fun going outside of your comfort zone. It is fun, like, doing those sorts of things. So that was like a really weird tangent, and I forgot what I was talking about previous. I hate when I do that. Oh, you guys have to, like, you got to keep up with me. I feel like I'm making your brains better, because you have to like really be on the ball, because I just go on all sorts of tangents. I do this everywhere I go. Like, I go from one subject to another. It's crazy. But I have just remembered what I was talking about. We're talking about how I was super tired. So yeah, I was so tired I didn't even turn my computer on. And that is like so unlike me. I am obsessed with my computer. Like, if the house was burning down, I think that I would be devastated about my computer being lost. That sounds so bad. Like, I'd try and just like at least just grab like the computer part of it and just like run away with it. Or I'd just like stand in the door of my bedroom and like fight the fire off so that the bedroom was okay. That sounds so bad. But yeah, I was like super duper incredibly tired on that 6 o'clock shift, so nothing really happened. And then that weekend, see, I have started playing sport again. I didn't really stop playing sport, it was just the off season. So the sports that I play are winter sports. So they just started like a couple of weeks ago. So I didn't really have that much time to do stuff on the weekend, because it was like the first game back of AFL, which is like Australian football, Aussie rules. It's really hard to explain what that is. And if you are interested, just YouTube it or something. Like, it's nothing like any other sport I've ever seen. It's really fun. It's like full on tackle football, like, not like soccer football, like, you know, football, but I'm just trying to think. I think most of you would be American. Like, it is nothing like your American football, which is really cool, by the way. But yeah, it's weird. So you should Google it if you want to. But anyway, yeah, I had my first like football game, and it was like 40 minutes, or probably 30 minutes. I'm exaggerating. Probably 30 minutes away, like from where I live. We have to be there a couple hours early, and then we did like a dinner afterwards. So my whole Saturday was like football. Then Sunday was like my first game back to hockey, and that sort of took up a lot of the day. So I didn't really get any time that weekend, but I am playing hockey with my sister. So I have played hockey, this is field hockey by the way, since I was 5. Like, I'm not joking, that's when I first started, and I am now 24. This is my 19th year of playing hockey, and I actually wasn't going to play. I was getting a bit sick of it, so I actually didn't register to play. And then I think I watched my sister play one game of hockey, and I was like, damn it, I don't know why I said I wouldn't play, because now I really want to play. So I've ended up playing in a hockey team, and in the entire time that I have played hockey, I've never played in the same team as my sister. So it's like really cool. My dad's like really happy, and he's like, oh, my babies are playing together, it's all I've ever wanted. And he's like taking all of these photos and then like putting them all over Facebook. And you know, like, dads are pretty bad on like social media and stuff, and it's like the worst photo of me, like my eyes are like half shut, and I'm just like in this really weird position, and then dad's like, I couldn't be prouder of my babies playing together. And I'm like, oh my god, dad, get off Facebook. It's actually really cute though. So I'm doing that. So I have pretty much like 3 trainings, 2 games each week. But I can't go to all the trainings because of my shift work. So on top of like all that stuff, I also ride my bike and go to the gym. So very active. But the point of telling you all this is that if I'm like a little less active on YouTube, this is why, because I'm doing all this sport and stuff. But YouTube is fun for me. YouTube is a hobby for me. And I don't want YouTube to be like something that stresses me out. That's not why I started. I want YouTube to be something really fun for me. So if I am a little less active, that's why. But I think like that's okay. It's okay with me because I'm playing sport and I'm out there like doing things that I think are really good for me mentally and physically. So I don't think it's a bad thing if I'm not as active because that's what I'm doing. If that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'd be like if, you know, a few people didn't watch my channel as much because they wanted to get outside and do sport or do something that is really positive for them. Like, I think that that is great. I think, like, don't get me wrong, I'm on my computer all the time, but I personally need to get out, either get outside or out to the gym and just do something. It's good for you. I think that too often people get, and me too, we get stuck inside too much, and like it's really not, I know I sound like a mother right now, but it's really not that good to just like sit inside all day and not do anything. So I have been trying to just get outside a little bit more and be more active. This is why I signed myself up for a lot of sport, because it's like forced me to be active, because before this I didn't do anything. I just sat at home and like I noticed that my shoulders were getting really sore and tense because I'm like hunched over a computer, and I noticed that I was probably getting more like headaches because I'm like sitting in like staring at a computer all the time. So I overall I feel a lot better that I'm not like on the computer quite as much. So yeah, that's really random, but just wanted to let you know. But this brings me to this weekend. So we have some music festivals in Australia, and one of them is called Groovin' the Moo. Yeah, it's actually a really weird name. We just call it GTM, and it goes like to a few places in Australia, but one of the places it goes to is where I live. And I have been to like one other music festival, and it was pretty good, but I decided to go to this music festival with friends, and I'm 24. And I have never, honestly, I felt so old at this music festival. I felt like it was just crazy because I feel like when you get to 24, you stop being like the baby, if that makes sense. I started my full-time job when I was 17, so that I was really young for that job. So I have been so used to just being the young little baby. And even at work, I still am, like, I'm the youngest one in my team. Like, I'm just like the little baby. So it was really weird for me, like now, people are like my sister's age and younger, and it's like, oh, I feel so old right now. And like, it's just a really weird feeling, because I know that I'm not old, but I'm not like a baby anymore. It's just like a weird, I don't know, it's just weird. So we went to this music festival, and I just wanted to tell all of these girls that they need to put their boobies away, because people were just walking around wearing like basically bikinis, and like I'm not exaggerating, like not everyone wore that, but there was this one girl who wore, I think that they were shorts, but they were so short that they like were pretty much undies and like a little bralette, and then there were girls just wearing little bralettes and short shorts, and you know, their boobies were sort of out. And I was there with two of my other friends, and we're all the same age, and we're just like looking at each other and we're like, when did we get so old? Like, when was this a problem? Because I have obviously been out before, I've been to a music festival before, and I just never noticed that everyone walks around half naked. And this time we're just looking at each other and we're like, these girls need to put their boobies away and put their bottoms away. Because I saw more than one person, these girls were wearing like see-through like fishnet dresses. So they're completely see-through. I don't know why they wore the dress. With, I'm not kidding, I am not exaggerating, a bra and undies. And I saw a couple of girls, I don't know if their undies just went up their butt or if they were wearing a G-string, but it was like a G-string and a bra and a completely see-through dress. And I was like shocked. And like, this has just never bothered me before. Like, I've been out to the clubs and I've been out and I've done all that stuff before. And I've never really not, like, I've kind of been like, oh, that's, you know, she's not wearing a lot, but it's never really bothered me. But I just was like hyper aware of the fact that half the people were not wearing clothes. And then being a music festival, a lot of people did get drunk, a lot of people did take drugs and stuff. So there was a few people just like not in a good way. And I'm like just thinking like, your mother would be so unhappy with you. And like, I wasn't the only one feeling that way. My friends were too, and we were just like looking at each other. And at the festival, you had to sit, like you could sit on the grass. And in my defense, I had just played a game of hockey, so I was tired, but I was trying to like get down on the grass, and I was like grunting, and I was like, oh, that's such a long way down. And then all these other like young kids are like sprawled out on the grass. And like my friends and I, like, we couldn't get comfortable. I'm like, damn, my leg hurts. I've got a cramp. And all these kids are just like laying there. So like they're flexible and limber. And like here I am like all stiff. And I'm like, this isn't very comfortable. And like music was coming on from maybe like the 90s. And you could tell the young kids like looking at each other like, what is this song? Who is this person? And I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. I'm so old. It was so weird. And there was this one point where they put a Nirvana song on and nobody knew it. Nobody knew, like, Nirvana? Who doesn't know Nirvana? I am so old. Like, when I was in high school, Nirvana was like, all like the cool like rocker kids were into Nirvana. And we were in this like tent thing dancing to Nirvana, and I was like, yeah, Nirvana. And all the people in the tent were like looking at each other really confused, like, what is this song? The DJ changed the song after the first like little bit of singing because nobody knew what was going on and everyone was staring at each other. My friend and I just looked at each other and were like, wow. So anyway, the thing didn't end until like 11 o'clock at night. And by 7, maybe 6:30, I was like, I want to go home. Like, it started to rain. It was freezing cold. I had a stomach ache. Well, I had cramps, but, you know, my back hurt. I was bored. Like, I don't know. I can't just stand there and dance all day like I used to be able to. So it was just kind of like, I was super bored. And my friends didn't want to go home though. And I didn't want to make them go home because I was being a buzzkill. And I just wanted to go home with a hot water bottle and go to bed and watch TV because I am a grandma now. So I called my mum and I was like, Mom, can you please pick me up? I have a tummy ache. I'm cold. My back hurts and I'm really bored. And my mum was like laughing her head off. And she was like, yeah, okay. So she came all the way out and picked me up, which I was like extremely grateful for. And my friends ended up like coming home a little bit later and stuff. But while I was waiting for my mum to pick me up, these people were at the front and they were like, oh, have you had a good time? And I was like, no, my tummy hurts and I'm cold and I'm bored and I want to go home. And they're looking at me and they're like, oh, how old are you? And I was like, yeah, I'm 24. And they were like, oh my God, you don't look 24. I'm like, I feel 24. And they were 17. 17. That's like 6 years younger than me. And I was like lecturing them. I was like, make sure you enjoy your time now. You dance now because before you know it, you'll be 24 and you will be sore and you'll have cramps and you'll just want to go home with a hot water bottle and go to bed. And they were like laughing at me. They're like, we'll have fun. I'm like, yes, good. And while you're at it, put your boobies away. No, I'm kidding. They were well dressed. So I ended up just like coming home. I'm not even kidding. I had a shower. I got a hot water bottle. I put my electric blanket on. I hopped into the bed and I watched X-Files. And even like my husband, he was like, I don't know why you go to these things. You're too old for it. And I'm like, I know. But see, the problem was that with these music festivals, the lineup isn't always good. The lineup is like all the people that play. So I didn't know a lot of the bands. But even still, I couldn't go there all day. For me, I could go there for like maybe 3 hours. So I'll probably potentially go to another music festival, but I'm going to do things differently. I'll make sure that I like all the bands that are playing, number one. And number two, I'll like make sure that I have warm clothes and food and like all of this other stuff, and I'm only going to go for like a few hours. I'm not going late into the night when it is raining and it is cold and there are drunk people everywhere with their boobies out, and no. So I'll be like well prepared next time, and yeah, so I might go again, but who knows. But I have like one really quick funny story. So I don't know if it's an Australian term, but a lineup. So if you go to like any sort of concert, the lineup is just like the people who are playing. And I hopped in the car when my mum picked me up and I'm like, yeah, the lineup was really bad. And mum was like, oh, where did you have to line up? And I was like, no, mum, the lineup is like the people that played. Oh, and I was like, okay, thank you for making me feel not so old anymore, mum. So, yeah. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I just like inhaled my spit then and then choked on it. That was really gross. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go now because we're nearly into screenshots. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to my ranty, ravey old person story. Yeah, I'm gonna actually go to the gym now for some food coaching. I've spoken into screenshots, so I'm going to be quiet and go now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all in another video. Bye, guys!